Welcome. Now, of course, our method signature should change because it's throwing exceptions. So what we could also do is we could change our method to this kind. Instead of exception, we could say runtime exception, so we don't have to explicitly handle it. Perfect. So now, when we are throwing this exception, we should be able to now test it. So here we say test update success. So let me copy this. Yeah, this is our method that we should copy and paste it to test the negative scenario. So the negative scenario here, let's change it to failure, and the above one, let's give that name as success. So success we are not going to touch. We have already done that in the last video. In the failure scenario, what we will have is when it will come here, there is no property found with this. So what we will do is knowingly we will just not send anything. So we'll say optional dot empty. So from here we will say optional dot empty. This is what we will send. So as soon as we will send optional dot empty, then it is going to come to the else block here, and it's going to throw us an exception. So now we should be able to test this flow, test this piece of block. So how do we test this? So we don't need all this, not required. We don't need this. Yeah, we need this one, but not other. We don't need other details. Update description property. So we will just copy this line for now. That's it. So now what will happen when this test will run? Then it is going to go here in the repository. Here in the repository, it's going to say find by property, and it's going to return an empty. And empty is not present, so it will come to the else part and it is going to throw an exception. So now when this is going to throw an exception, we should now have a mechanism to validate this exception scenario. So what we have to do is we have to do something like this. One moment. So what it says is application exception. So in our case, the application exception is business exception. So we'll create an instance of business exception, and then we'll say business exception dot class. And here we will write the code which can throw the exception. So this particular call that you see, this is the one which can throw the exception. So we are going to go and cut this code and paste it here. So this is the piece of code which will throw exception. This assertion is not needed anymore. Next thing is now we have to do some assertion. And what is the assertion we will do? So here, so this is the exception which is thrown. So we'll say get message, and this get message should be exactly same as the message which we had set. So let's copy this, and now we can paste it here. So if our test will only pass if this assertion succeeds, which means this scenario should now run. So let's run this scenario, test coverage. So let's run it again once more. So run with test coverage. So we see that the coverage is now showing, and let's see the test. Test has also passed. Let's add to the suite, and now if we see our test has passed because the exception has been thrown. So if we want to put a debugger, let's go ahead and put that and see if how the complete flow works. So let's put this debug mode. So now it should stop in our service. So it stopped, and here we got an empty because that's what we passed from our test, which is this one optional.empty for any call with the find by ID. Then we should go further. It's empty, so it goes to the else, and it's going to throw, and once it is thrown, it is going to come to our test block, which is here, and that's where our test is going to get executed. And our test has an assertion that if it is going to throw this message, then our test should pass. So our test passed. Let's say if I just modify this message, our test should fail because this is not the message that we have thrown. So let me run this and let's wait and see. So our test failed because it was expecting this. Expected was this, actual was this. But actually we should return what we are throwing. So this is the message we are throwing. So this is what we should assert as well. Paste it and run it again, and now it should pass. Perfect. So this is how we basically test a exception scenario, or whenever an exception is thrown, this is how we should test the flow. So now we have in our service, we have completed testing this. There are a few more methods left like update property price and delete. Now you can easily write the test cases for them. I don't have to write it again. It's exactly the same as what we wrote for this one. So thank you for watching this video. Bye bye.